Hey everybody, Nick from 9Card TCG, and today we are talking about the newly released information about the next set of Pokemon TCG, and that is Pokemon Sword and Shield battle styles. And I'm pretty interested in this. I think it's really cool to have opposing dichotomous battle styles in the Rapid Strike and in the Single Strike. And Pokemon released a statement along with a little trailer revealing some of the cards, and we're going to talk about what they said in the statement and the cards they showed off in the trailer in this video. So let's get to it. So yesterday, December 15th, Pokemon released a statement regarding Pokemon Sword and Shield battle styles, and I'm going to read it more or less directly from the website. I'm going to add some things or change it up a little bit to make it just a little easier to understand what they're talking about. So let's read their statement. Coming March 19th, 2021, which is not far away, the expansion will debut an exciting new gameplay mechanic called Battle Styles, introducing two different forms of attack, Single Strike and Rapid Strike. The former, Single Strike, is a Pokemon equivalent of throwing a knockout punch. The latter, Rapid Strike, is like a chess game using tactical attacks to build steadily towards victory. Single Strike cards are accented with red, while Rapid Strike cards are adorned in blue. Additionally, both Trainer and Energy cards are available in Single Strike and Rapid Strike styles to help trainers develop a deck around their battle styles of choice. The Sword and Shield Battle Styles expansion will include battle style Pokemon such as Single Strike Urshifu V, Rapid Strike Urshifu V, Single Strike Tyranitar V, and Rapid Strike Empoleon V, among others. So it's really cool that we're going to get some new Pokemon V, and they're going to be styled in this battle style format, which I think is pretty cool, and I'm excited to see what else they pull. Combine previously introduced VMAX mechanics with the new battle styles, and you get Single Strike Urshifu VMAX and Rapid Strike Urshifu VMAX in their Gigantamax forms. We're going to show off these cards. They look really cool. I'm very excited. Here's what else you can expect from the Sword and Shield Battle Styles expansion coming out in booster packs, elite trainer boxes, and special collections. They are going to have 60 battle style cards, 12 Pokemon V and 16 full art Pokemon V, 6 Pokemon VMAX, 19 trainer cards, and 6 full art supporter cards with 2 special energy cards. So quite a bit to collect. It's not a huge set. I am interested to know what the total card set is for this release. It says 60 battle style cards, but that can't be the entire set, 60 cards. I wouldn't be surprised if it's a smaller set. I can't remember if it was Darkness Ablaze or Rebel Clash. That was only like 94 cards total, but they'll probably have a set of cards somewhere between 30 and 60 cards that are not battle style and are just included in this set to give a total of somewhere likely between 90 and 120 cards total is my guess. I could be wrong. It could be 60 cards total. It would be a very small set, but we'll see. So what about the actual cards they showed off? On the Pokemon website, they have a trailer where they did a cool animation. I enjoyed watching the trailer, and they showed off some of the cards, and we are going to show those cards right now in the order they appeared in the trailer. First, we have Emboar, the Fire-type Stage 2 Pokemon with 180 HP. You can see the Single Strike logo on the top right corner of the artwork underneath the HP, and it has the ability Fighting Fury Stance. Your Single Strike Pokemon's attacks do 30 more damage to your opponent's active Pokemon. It does not say that this doesn't stack. It doesn't say you can only use one Fighting Fury Stance or one ability like this. So it seems like it does stack if you wanted to run multiple copies of Emboar and put them on your bench. They do have a very high retreat cost of 4, but that goes well with something like buff pads. It does have a very high attack cost, 2 fire, 2 energy for just 130 HP, so you're probably not going to be attacking with this. It's going to be sitting on the bench. However, with the large 180 HP, it's not the huge liability. It has the same HP as a Crobat or a Dedenne, so you know, it's the same HP, same liability, risk like that, but you're doing more damage constantly as long as you're a Pokemon in the active spot of Single Strike, and you're only going to give up 1 prize if it's knocked off the bench. So not terrible, but for a stage 2, for 30 damage, I think you should be running more than 1 copy, but try to get all that into a deck I think it really depends on what other single strike cards are available to help search this out a little easier. Next we have the single strike Tyranitar V with a 230 attack, dark type. It has the Cragalanche attack for 1 dark, 2 colorless, does 60 damage, and you discard the top 2 cards of your opponent's deck, so help mill a little faster. This is actually pretty good for dealing with Excadrill decks or even the new Charizard Leon decks that are out. If you can get their cards into the discard pile, they have a better chance of decking out, though that does help these decks a little bit. The Pokemon's attacks do rely on cards being in the discard pile, so while yes, they may deck out a little faster, you do run the risk of helping them unintentionally. It also has the single strike crush attack, 2 dark, 2 colorless, does 240 HP, and you discard the top 4 cards of your deck. So a little interesting mechanic. You do a ton of damage, but it is a high attack cost, and you discard the top 4 cards of your deck. Interesting to see if some of the other single strike cards let you do something based on cards in the graveyard, kind of like Charizard does with Leon. If you have Leons in the graveyard, it does more damage. So curious to see how this stacks up with some of the other trainers or Pokemon in this set. Next up is the Hound Doom single strike 130 HP dark type with the single strike roar ability. Once during your turn, you may search your deck for a single strike energy card and attach it to one of your Pokemon, but it has to be a single strike. And then you shuffle your deck, and if you attach an energy to a Pokemon in this way, it takes 20 damage. So they did mention there will be 2 types of 2 battle style energies, and I'm curious to see what those do. Will it be worth taking 20 damage? For a lot of Pokemon Vs or V Max, taking 20 damage isn't really a lot, but you do have instances where Pokemon are really close to being knocked out. Maybe they took 200 damage or 210 damage and they only have 20-30 HP left. So it really, I think it will really depend on what these energies do to make this work. This is a stage 1 Pokemon, so it's not that hard to get out onto the bench, but we'll see what those energies do. I'm very, very curious. Next we have the single strike Urshifu V. And it's interesting that both the single strike and the rapid strike that we'll get to later are both fighting types. Theoretically, you could run both single and rapid strike Urshifu Vs in your deck because technically they do have different names. But the single strike is the 220 HP fighting type. Its first attack is laser focus. For 1 fighting type, you can search your deck for up to 2 fighting energy cards and attach them to this Pokemon, then shuffle your deck. Pretty good for getting energies onto this quickly, which you'll need for the second attack, Impact Blow. 2 fighting energy and 1 colorless, 180 damage, and during your next turn, this Pokemon can't use Impact Blow. 180 damage isn't a ton, and I know Pokemon said that it's like doing a knockout, but 180 just isn't going to cut it for a lot of Pokemon. I mean, again, it really depends. Do you have something like Emboar on the field? Are there going to be more single strike cards that allow you to do more damage in a given turn? Maybe this will combine well with something like Leon, where your attacks will do 30 more damage plus the 30 damage from something like an Emboar. And then if you have any other trainer cards or energies that boost your damage, we got to see. So again, it really comes down to what does the rest of the trainer and support cards around this look like. Next up is the single strike Urshifu VMAX fighting type with a major 330 HP, and this is the knockout punch that Pokemon is talking about. Urshifu V doesn't really have it. I think it would be better to use something like Laser Focus to set up for Urshifu V Max, because this does a ton of damage. 3 colorless energies for beatdown, 100 damage, nothing special about that. But the G Max 1 blow, 3 fighting and 1 colorless energy, 270 damage. You have to discard all energy from this Pokemon. However, the attack is not affected by your opponent's active Pokemon at all. Something like Decidueye with the Deep Forest Camo ability prevents damage or effects from all attacks of Pokemon V and GX. However, this card's statement says that it doesn't matter what the effects are. So you could attack a Decidueye, you can attack an Altaria, which has a similar ability, and you will pierce through those defenses. However, it will cost you discarding 4 energy to do it. So you have to be running either a way to get those energy out of a discard pile or be running a good fighting energy engine. So it'd be really interesting to see how this pairs with something like B and Colossus. Very, very interested. I'm excited for Urshifu VMAX, at least the single strike version. Let's see what the rapid strike version looks like next. The first rapid strike card is Octillery, 110 HP stage 1 water type with the rapid strike search ability. Once during your turn, you may search your deck for a rapid strike card, reveal it, and put it into your hand, then shuffle your deck, and you can't use more than one rapid strike search ability each turn. So having multiple Octilleries on the bench does not help you, it's just a liability. So you get one onto the bench and call it a day. You can have a second in your hand ready to go just in case this one gets bossed and knocked out, or bench damage, something like that. But having more than one on your bench doesn't help you at all. And it's interesting, compared to Hound Doom, which lets you search specifically for a single strike energy, this lets you search for any rapid strike card you want, which I think is great, but again, you are limited to just one. It has very little HP, 110 for stage 1, not really a lot. Don't get me wrong, Hound Doom's 130 isn't much better. Next is the Rapid Strike Urshifu V, fighting type, 220 HP, the same as a single strike. Its attacks differ from the single strike in that it has Strafe for 1 fighting energy, does 30 damage, and you get to switch this Pokemon with one of your bench. We see this with something like Orbeetle V, and it also has 100 Furious Blows, 2 fighting energy, and 1 colorless, 150 damage. Nothing special about that. Next is Empoleon V, the water type with 210 HP, rapid strike with the ability Emperor's Eyes. As long as this Pokemon is in the active spot, your opponent's basic Pokemon in play have no abilities, with the exception of Pokemon with a rule box, and that does include Pokemon V and Pokemon GX. So you would not be able to use Empoleon's V Emperor Eyes abilities to cancel out a Mew and Mewtwo, right? Because it is a GX type Pokemon, but this would get rid of something like Jirachis, Gormandizing Snorlaxes, anything like that. This Pokemon does have to be in the active spot to do it. It's really good to have this in the active spot at the beginning of the game, kind of slow your opponent down from setting up. They can't Gormandize, they can't use whatever Jirachi's ability is, depending on which one they have. So you kind of slow them down if they have a bad hand, and you can do your setup while limiting what your opponent can do. So I think this is really good. The attack, 1 water, 2 colorless, Swirling Slice, it does 130 damage, and then you move an energy from this Pokemon to your bench Pokemon. It'd be really interesting to pair this with the Rapid Strike Urshifu, especially with things like Energy Switch, and again, we'll see what the other Rapid Strike support cards look like. But if you hit for 130, move an energy, like a colorless energy, or you can even put 2 fighting energy on this Pokemon and move it to an Urshifu. Next turn, just switch, Bird Keep, or whatever you're using to bring out your Urshifu to get a good, good strike in. Then next turn, swap, and you can kind of keep doing this cycle of hit, return, hit, return. It'd be a little interesting to see how something like that works. Next up, Mineshaw, 90 HP fighting type, stage 1 rapid strike Pokemon. The Spinning Whip attack seems, I understand where it's going, right? 1 fighting, 1 colorless, 90 HP, your opponent's active Pokemon is now confused, and you shuffle this Pokemon and all attached cards into your deck. So maybe you kind of put a couple energies on this to get a quick attack, confuse your opponent's active Pokemon, and use this to pull up a Urshifu or an Empoleon, something like that. This way, if you use Mineshaw's Spinning Whip attack, you pull up Empoleon, next turn your opponent can't use their Gormandizing Snorlax ability because Empoleon's now in the active spot. Instead of attacking and then switching to Urshifu next turn, now your opponent can still use whatever abilities. So I can understand where this is coming from. 90 damage doesn't really do a lot. It will be enough to knock out a Jirachi, but not a Snorlax. So this is something that has to be played very wisely. I see the potential, but again, it has to be done correctly. And the final Pokemon they showed off in this trailer is the Rapid Strike Urshifu VMAX. Again, fighting type, 330 HP. This is, like we mentioned, the Rapid Strike. Its attacks are for 1 fighting energy, Gale Thrust. It does 30 damage. If this Pokemon is moved from your bench to the active spot this turn, it does 120 more damage. There are plenty of ways to get Pokemon from the bench to the active spot, things like scoop up nets, things like switches and bird keepers and all this kind of stuff. So there are plenty of ways to do this, but the real attack, G-Max Rapid Flow, 2 fighting, 1 colorless, discard all energy from this Pokemon. This attack does 120 damage to 2 of your opponent's Pokemon. Any 2 you want. Is it a ton of damage? No, but again, Pokemon made it very clear that this is meant to do almost like chip damage. You can boss up an opponent's Pokemon that is pretty weak and then do 120 damage to something else. I think the potential for Rapid Strike is really high, but I think there's a higher skill ceiling with this. I think this is something that a more experienced player may enjoy doing. It'd be really interesting to pair this with something like Orbeetle, just because of how you could do spread damage and then just do a massive 120 damage to anything you want, to Pokemon actually. So it'd be really cool to see how things like spread damage work with this. It'd be really cool to see how scoop up nets, bird keepers, anything that allows you to pull your opponent's Pokemon. Personally, my style of play is more geared towards the single strike, but that really depends again on what the supporters look like. And as I see these cards more, we get the full card list, then you can start getting full real ideas of what goes well with these individual styles. So that's it for all the Pokemon they showed off in the trailer. Again, if you want to watch the trailer, the link is in the description below. I hope you enjoyed this video. As soon as I get more information, we would definitely be making another video and following up, and we'll be keeping an eye on this. So make sure that you subscribe to the channel, like this video, and that really helps us grow. It helps other people find this content. Let me know which style you think that you are more interested in. Or do you need more information? Do you have an idea? Or do you not like building on this Pokemon V and V Max concept? A lot of people aren't, I don't want to say a lot of people aren't fans, but there has been significant power creep in Pokemon, and I think they are really trying to put their foot down and say, okay, we are going, this is where we're at for now. Pokemon V, Pokemon V Max, they're not going anywhere. And what we'll do is we will make other ways of using Pokemon V and Pokemon V Max, and I think that's interesting, but we'll see how it pans out when we get the full deck list. But anyway, that's going to do it for us today. Thanks so much for stopping by, hanging in, and checking out these cards. Let me know which ones you're most interested in, and I've been rambling, so I'll see you next time.